think maybe let's start off with, Lerato. Lerato's a young girl that grew up in the East Rand, comes from a dope family, but always been ambitious. I think, when you were young, everybody else had, that question, what do you want to be when you grow up? And it's like a lawyer or what. So I knew that, I wanted to be a business owner. I did not know what that looked like. I didn't even know that there was like courses around it. I think in my era there wasn't. So I went with marketing, studied marketing, continued through. And when I was bold enough to then say, this is it. I am going on my own. I'm leaving corporate. That's exactly what I did. Even during corporate, I was still doing things on the side and then still having my 9 to 5. But I think, when that voice becomes louder and louder, I was like, this is it. And I started putting a plan in place. So it was birthed. I always say that, August is coming, right? And from the 1st of August right up until the 31st, you probably are booked everywhere. Someone is having an event of some sort. And then come October, silence. And then I thought to myself, hey, boo, why is it these amazing, multifaceted, ambitious, bold, brilliant women are only celebrated just for that 1 month, And also, why are brands only really showcasing and highlighting our brilliance only in just that 1 month, And I just started speaking to a few women, my friends, my circle, and I wanted ours to be more unique. And when I say unique, I'm talking from a place of, yes, communities are there, but what's going to make ours different? When we then launched with Bold Women in Marketing. Why marketing? Because again, that's where I'm coming from. But I realized that there's so many marketers out there, but we've never been in a room where we all actually shared the same ideas and our journeys also, So when we launched, we went with that. And then I realized that, let's rather keep it industry based. Okay. Then from there, we went to Women in Health. That's when the MEC asked us to actually launch her community in health. And then we moved to Women in Technology. So again, just being deliberate and really talking to topics where we know that, some of our women are minorities, but also extracting opportunities where women can actually leave our events with, this is what I'm going to action here on, or I can speak to that founder and this is what I'm planning to do. And just to give you an example, when we had our Women in Technology, we had one of the guys that actually built Checker 6060, and he has his own Zolzi brand. And he was just telling us his story, how he had to quickly make as if he has a team, he has an office, and again, as women, you're sitting there but why? But now you realize that I don't have to operate as a silo. When someone says, I'm here to invest, look like you are investable, So those are the nuggets that we really wanted to give women. And that's the whole point around Bold Women Network. Connect, cultivate, and bring about ideas that are workable. I think for me, one of the things that changed for ourselves was that around January. Okay, so I think I'll speak about the campaign. So around December, I thought to myself, I need to clean up. I have so many clothes, and I was a size 2, and now those size 2 clothing are still sitting there. And for the past 5 years, I've been saying, I'm not going to get you out of the closet. I'm going to be a size 2 again, And then, the funny things, when I was chatting to my friends, they're like, actually, show me, Lynn, show me, So I gathered an amazing group of women who then said, they're going to gather their clothing and they're going to give them away. But I knew that I didn't want to give them away very far or even to family and so forth. Who can I actually give this to who will appreciate it? And then we then started working on a campaign, which was a GBV campaign, to then say, let's give them to those homes where there are women, there are young girls that are vulnerable and that are looking for clothing. So we then donated them to those homes. But I think also one of the things that it triggered was that, I have female friends who are running their own businesses. And sometimes, like we all know, business goes ups and downs. But now, what will that look like for us if we really intentionally created wealth for ourselves? Then the question was, what does wealth look like for me, and the other person can obviously define it their own way. But I think for me, it was just also a matter of like, how do we move away from I'm just making enough, Can I actually then see women actually make enough and actually exceed the expectations? But also with that, I want to see these women building offices, bringing in resources, bringing in young people with creative ideas in their organizations. I get what we're saying, we're entrepreneurs, and part of being an entrepreneur, part of being an SME is to create jobs, and a lot of times we find that we don't create jobs because you're always afraid that how am I going to pay these people? Oh, that means I need an office. Oh, I need to get a laptop, and we know that it's not going to be funding from government or any kind of funding. Some of it has to be coming from you. And I think that's where the wealth creation came from, was to then say, how do we as women group ourselves? How do I actually look and say to my business, how am I creating my own wealth? And I think that's when the evolving then came about. And hence, that's why the conversation around wealth creation, having webinars and lives where women are defining what wealth creation is for them. And I think I've seen how it is so different, but I love it because, again, it allows us to tell our own stories also as women. Yeah. So I think the biggest thing for me as a founder, as an entrepreneur, you must have confidence. You must believe in what you're doing, because if you don't believe in what you're doing, everyone else is going to say the economy is tough. What are you doing? Go back to corporate. Everyone is going to say to you, why are you still doing this? You are not as wealthy as you wanted to become. Or why are you still doing this? Look, you've lost your car, So you need to be brave. You need to be confident and believe, and live your business. And when I say live your business, know what is happening, but also spend time in always looking out for opportunities, building relationships, more than anything, networking. So I think for me, number one would be confidence. Number two would be to expand your network. A lot of times, again, as entrepreneurs, sometimes we find that saying, they always say that we don't work outside of the business. We're always working in the business. We need to get to a place where we move and actually work outside of the business, because when you start doing that, you are able to see opportunities. You are able to make time to actually look at, all right, if I'm going to be prospecting, should I continue with my current strategy or should I change my strategy? And I find that we don't make time for all of those things because we are always in meetings, So just give yourself to then say, how do I actually expand on my network and building new relationships? Yeah. That's that. Number 3 is know what's happening around you. Know what's happening around you, and also don't just follow the trends of what is happening, and when I say trends, just because now you are seeing people are selling shoes, Luana, you are going to sell shoes. Just because you're seeing someone is selling this and you're also following through, you just need to get to a place where okay, this is where the economy is. All right, I know that people eat in this economy. We're not going to stop eating, People buy clothes in this economy. We're not going to stop, People still want to look good, even though their purses have shrunk, but then we still want to look good. Now you start looking at what are the immediate things that I can tap into that will help me make money. Yes. I loved golfing even before I left corporate. And for me, I think it was just more of the peace of mind that it gives you, the strategy thinking or strategical thinking that it gives you also, because now there you are, you have a club and you have to hit it and you have to think, how am I going to hit it beyond, yes. Right? But also with that said, just the in-betweeners of being in the green fields, just the calming and the relaxation that comes with it, then it actually remind you that before you actually make that hard decision, you also have to embrace where you are, but also more than anything, that you still have to walk the talk, whether you like it or not. And I think that's the beauty about golf. But we are then also saying that, ladies, let's get into it, let's make those deals, and I think a lot of times we shy away from it because we're always thinking it's a man's sport or it's an expensive sport. Actually, it is not expensive, especially once you start signing the deals. Because you know very well that, once you start talking about your business, and with golf, you best believe that we refer people. And when I say referral, it's more of, you're looking for that. Oh, no, I know a marketing person that's going to help you with 1, 2, 3. Oh, you're looking for someone to do your cupboards in your house. Oh, no, I know someone that's going to, you know what I'm saying? So imagine being in people's mental database. Imagine that. And when they start talking, they're like, no, I have that one. No, don't worry. So that's the whole point. I'm saying, women, it's about time we get into those spaces where you become, or rather get into people's mental databases, whereby when they're looking for PR, they know whom to think for. When they're looking for someone that's going to create tech software for them, they know whom to think about, because you are on top of mind and people know what you are doing, but you are also within the same circle. And that's just what it is. It's more of women being confident in really taking up golf. So I'm not perfect, right? I'm a work in progress. And funny enough, even those that are pro golfers are still work in progress, you look at Tiger Woods, like he's still practicing till to date, and he's still finding challenges in some of the fields that he goes into, right? So I'm saying, women, let's start. Let's start somewhere. But I think also going back to your point, it's a new hobby. It's exciting, and you actually meet up with like-minded people who are in business. Some of them are executives for big corporations, So we're saying, let's start moving away from just doing our small and our business. Let's grow. Let's go big and take our business to a bigger level and a bigger audience who are really going to really listen to us and say, no, you know what? Actually, we do have a program for entrepreneurs who are into the beauty space. I think you'd be the right people because we're funding entrepreneurs like you. Those are the conversations that we want. When you touch on vulnerability, I think it's the most powerful strength one can ever have, especially when you are using it right. It's one thing to be vulnerable and people see it and they use it against you. But it's another to be vulnerable to say, I love the sport. I don't know how to start, but I would like to start. And then you have a community that's going to then bring you in and embrace you, to teach you, to show you the ways, I remember this one time I was at one of the golf greens in Alberton, and I was new there, and I just saw, people playing, men's and ladies. And I just went up to them. I was like, I really like what you guys are doing. How often do you guys play and so forth? And the lady, actually, I spoke to 2 different people. Both of them said, no, we are always traveling around South Africa. No. You need to be part of our membership. You need to. So again, it was just a matter of me asking questions and me being vulnerable. But also I think in business, whether you like it or not, it's okay not to know. And I think we forget that because we are adults, but for me, I always slap myself to say, yeah, I came on this earth not knowing anything, so I'm going to ask until I'm comfortable. That's why. So even sometimes when I know that I love my chocolate and I'll be like, Lerato, stop it. You came on this earth, you did not even know chocolate. So can you just stop? I always say that it's best to balance. Why I say best to balance? So one of the things that made me become pro-community of women, pro-community of business, and so forth was when I was still in corporate and I wanted to transition, I joined BASA. Okay. And why was that? It was because obviously, so many amazing things that they were doing for entrepreneurs, opportunities and so forth. And I thought to myself, when I leave here, there full time, and that's what I did when I transitioned. And it was so easy for me because even in that transition, I remember when I started being with them, we had a vision board situation, and that was the time when Ukanyilum was still an editor for our fabulous Destiny magazine, but also like the speakers that were there and just the look and feel, and I just saw how women showed up, women had dreams, women put together their vision boards, women were like, I want to win this year, and I think for me that was also one of the things that said, you know what, it might have been the Basa of that time, but how is your community going to be different? But I realized that what makes ours different was that, we are very open-minded, we are very welcoming from no matter how small, no matter how big your business is. But I think also one of the things that we always touch on is the relevancy of what's happening. Women want wealth. Women's mental health is important. Women's families are important. So it's a matter of how do we find balance, and also taking you out to some of the events that we go to. It's time for you to then say, oh, let me just wind down and just have a cocktail with the girls, that's what it's about. But I think more than anything, it's also just meeting new people, because you never know who's going to plug you.